Greetings, chosen ones. Peace and blessings to you all. I hope you're having a great day. I hope you're out there in the world being more than conquerors, doing great things out in your communities, for your friends, for your families, all for the glory of God. So I'm back again today with another video, and today I'm going to be talking about 4 spiritual benefits to fasting. Okay, but before we begin, you know what you've got to do. Hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, share this video with anyone you think will benefit from seeing it, and do leave me a comment or a question in the comment section below. Thank you very much. So today I'm going to be talking about the spiritual benefits of fasting. There's also a lot of physical benefits to fasting, which I'll probably be going over in another video. But today we're focusing on the spiritual aspects, how it can benefit our lives to fast regularly. You know, so it's something that's spoken about a lot throughout the Bible. Okay, so it's highly encouraged as a practice. You know, it's important to remember though that, you know, positionally as believers, you know, it's got nothing whatsoever to do with salvation. So it's not one of those things you have to do. Okay, but it is highly encouraged. Okay. So, in terms of fasting, you know, it's not starving. You know, starving is not a choice, right? But fasting is a choice. Okay, so it's a choice. It's a willing sacrifice. You know, we are turning away from the flesh to subdue the flesh. You know, we're not feeding the flesh. So we're humbling ourselves, and that will allow the power of the Holy Spirit to go to work. You know, we're effectively getting out of the way. Okay, so let's look at a few places in the Bible that mention fasting, you know, talk about, you know, humbling ourselves, you know, and a few verses that mention fasting. So we've got Psalm chapter 35 verse 13. But as for me, when they were sick, my clothing was sackcloth. I humbled my soul with fasting, and my prayer returned into mine own bosom. Psalm chapter 69 verse 10. When I wept and chastened my soul with fasting, that was to my reproach. So we can see in these verses, you know, talk about, you know, humbling yourself before God. You know, when we humble ourselves, you know, we receive that grace, you know, which is the power of the Holy Spirit, and we can put that to work in our lives. So let's move on. So we've got Isaiah chapter 40 verse 29. He giveth power to the faint, and to them that have no might he increaseth strength. Psalm chapter 84 verse 5. Blessed is the man whose strength is in thee, in whose heart are the ways of them. 2 Corinthians chapter 12 verse 9. And he said unto me, my grace is sufficient for thee, for my strength is made perfect in weakness. Most gladly, therefore, will I rather glory in my infirmities, that the power of Christ may rest upon me. So we can see from these verses that in weakness, you know, we become stronger in the Spirit. The power of God can work through us more effectively. We tap into God's power. And also, you know, when we fast, we get more clarity of mind. You know, so fasting is a good thing to use, you know, if you've got to make important decisions and you need clarity on that, you want answers from God, you know, on what you should do. So let's go over some of the benefits, the actual spiritual benefits, you know, that we can get through regular fasting. And number one is to overcome problems, major hurdles, and the calamities of life. So, you know, when we have these big problems, we can't solve them on our own, right? You know, and a lot of the time, you know, that's when we really look to God for help, is when we have these major problems. And that is an ideal time, you know, to fast, you know, and that will really activate that power, you know, to come through. Often, you know, we only turn to God at those times when we really need help. But it's something we should really, you know, be doing all the time, which brings me to point 2, which is, you know, to establish a clearer connection to God in order to grow. Okay, so an example of that is in the book of Mark, chapter 2, verse 20. But the days will come when the bridegroom shall be taken away from them, and then shall they fast in those days. So in this verse, Jesus is referring to the bridegroom as himself, and the believers are the bride of Christ. So we can see from this verse that Jesus is talking about a time when he is no longer physically present on the earth with his disciples, and he's telling them that when he's no longer physically present with them, that is a good time to fast, to keep that close relationship with Christ when he is no longer physically present. Which brings me to point 3, which is, fasting to gain clarity as to your mission and purpose in life. So, in life we have so many distractions going on all the time, and it's just like a sea of noise in our lives, and it keeps us away from hearing what God is trying to tell us. You can think of it like if we're a receiver, like a radio receiver, if God is like, a radio signal, it's there all the time. Like a radio signal is there all the time, just like God's presence is there all the time. But if the receiver isn't picking up the signal, it's not receiving any information. Okay, so really, when we fast, it's about kind of retuning, refocusing and tapping into what God is trying to tell us. And it's when we sit still, when we take time out of routine and take time out of our normal practices to fast, again you're turning away from the flesh and you're focusing more on the spirit. So that's a good way of really, if you're looking to find your purpose in life, and I believe that we all have a purpose, and really, our primary mission is to find that purpose, and secondary is to carry that mission out upon the earth. So really, I'd say fasting is a good way to find that clarity. If you're unsure what your purpose is, what you should be doing, fasting is a great way of helping receive that information. And number 4, okay, is to overcome the devil. Okay, so a lot is talks about prayer and fasting in the book of Mark, chapter 9, verse 29. The disciples were trying to cast out a demon, okay, and they couldn't do it, and Jesus said, well, this type only comes out through prayer and fasting. So again, it's amplifying the power of God. Okay, when we fast, the power of God is working through us more effectively. Okay, so we'll read the chapter, Mark chapter 9, verse 29. And he said unto them, this kind can come forth by nothing but by prayer and fasting. And another verse about overcoming evil and wickedness is from the book of Isaiah, chapter 58, verse 6. Is not this the fast that I have chosen, to loose the bands of wickedness, to undo heavy burdens, and to let the oppressed go free, and that ye break every yoke? So we can see from these verses that fasting, used in conjunction with prayer, really enables the power of God to work through us more effectively, to break the bonds of wickedness, to break demonic strongholds, to overcome heavy burdens and oppressions wherever they are in our lives, addictions, etc. And also, to gain clarity on, if we're unsure of what we should be doing in life. A lot of the time we can't work out, the problems in our life on our own. We try and think our way out of them, and a lot of the time we need clarity on that. And so, quiet time to take time out, fast, will bring us closer to God, will enable us to receive, what God is trying to tell us, that we can often not hear because we're, caught up in all the things going on in the world. So I highly recommend it. I think it's definitely, an important part of spiritual practice. I've been fasting myself, for quite a long time now. I've done like daily fasts. which is a good way of starting, is just to do one day. Doing one day is really quite simple. Usually I do 3-day fasts, you know. When I'm doing a fast, it'll be a 3-day fast, you know, but people do 10-day, you know, a week fast, 10-day fast, 2-week fast, and, you know, physiologically it's quite possible to go without food for 2 whole weeks. You know, it's something you probably would have to build your way up to if you're not used to it. But like I said, I usually do 3-day fast if I'm fasting. So yeah, there you have it. So I think I've covered everything now on that one. So yeah, if you like this video, please do subscribe to this channel, do share this video with anyone you think will benefit from seeing it, and do leave me a comment or a question below in the comment section. And I will see you again on the next video. Bye.